Well, hello again, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally, and I mean literally, does not work. You know, I'm working on the set, doing some things. This is kind of some testing that we're doing here because we want to make sure that we have everything in place because the season is coming. It's coming. We sit here almost, I think, only 71 days away from the beginning against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a game which I'm going to tell you that I believe that the Dallas Cowboys will win. Let all the haters come in here and tell me how stupid I am. I'm okay with that. I'm okay, but I think the Dallas Cowboys get the upset against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, of course, you know I love listening to the music here because, of course, Ron Oliver, he does one hell of a mix. So I'm going to go ahead and kill it because I don't want the haters to start complaining that this has turned into the nightclub. So some news on the Dallas Cowboys. You know, it's funny how there are either you're a Dallas Cowboy hater or you love the Dallas Cowboys. There's no in between where you kind of say the Cowboys, yeah, I think they're okay. The interesting thing is Dak Prescott, depending on which publication you listen to, is anywhere from about 7 to 4th as far as the quarterback ratings, unless you listen to Colin Cowherd, which, of course, is always, paying Dak Prescott. He's truly, the far end of the hater. As much as everybody talks about Stephen A. Smith is kind of coming a little bit towards the Cowboys side of the fence a little bit, and so on. But now we have a new one who is truly going against the Dallas Cowboys, and that's Mike Greeley. Greeley is literally on Get Up now every day. His new standby is the Cowboys always look good in June. I mean, literally every show, it's like he can't wait to bring that up. But there's some people who are thinking that Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, that this is a year. We've already seen that Dak Prescott is the odds-on favorite for comeback player of the year, and he is 5th in the MVP conversation. And I don't know that we've ever had a dual comeback player and MVP. That would be one of those things that would be unbelievable if it were to happen. But I know the haters will come through and say, well, he got hurt on purpose so that way he could do it, and everybody took it easy on him because they felt bad because they didn't want to hurt his ankle. They'll come up with some bullshit. But let's listen to the talking heads and what they have to say this time about the Dallas Cowboys. And could the Dallas Cowboys actually be a really good team, or are we talking about them being like fool's gold?
And you can count former Washington football team quarterback Alex Smith among those with high expectations. He said this about Dak, quote, "I think Dak is one of the most unique athletes in the NFL. I mean that from a freakish perspective. He's such a strong, powerful, good athlete. I expect him to come back and be rolling. Then you add that on to his fortitude and mental perspective. I think he's going to have a huge year." Mike Tannenbaum, what exactly would constitute a huge year? In your opinion, what could Dak Prescott be?
He could be a top 5 quarterback, Greeny, and I think they could take Tampa Bay all the way to the conference finals, and here's why. They're getting back 3 really good offensive linemen. D-Wood knows the value of that. When you think about Zach Martin, L. Collins, Tyron Smith, if they're healthy with 2 number 1 wide receivers, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and a really good running back in Zeke Elliott, this is a complete offense that you really can't just take one player out and look at the other side of the field, what they'll be able to do from an explosive standpoint. So with a rebuilt offensive line that hopefully will be healthy, a healthy Dak Prescott, he's a top 5 quarterback, and I think Dallas could get to the conference finals.
Wow.
You too, Mike. You too. It is amazing how good everyone always thinks Dallas is going to be in June. If the NFL season were played in June, Dallas would win the Super Bowl every year. Diana, what are you hearing coming out of there?
Well, I'm listening to Tannenbaum. I'm like, man, he is just like a sucker for looking at the stars and thinking this is all going to align. And I get it. I get what he means. He's talking about the offensive line. I'm like, that's a good point. They got these receivers. This defense is going to get better with Dan Quinn. That's all true. But Dak Prescott's won 1 playoff game in 5 years. I know he's motivated coming off this injury. And Greeny, all I hear is optimism coming out of Dallas about the work that Dak Prescott has put in. He is at that facility every day. I don't think any of us can forget the images of that day he was injured with that leg, getting carted off the field. The story is beautiful. If he can come back here and play healthy, play well, he just got paid. It's a perfect tale. They just need to do it. And you're right. We always predict that they're going to be so good. And they seem to disappoint every season. But the sense I'm getting, this is the year where we can finally say, okay, they deserve it. And we'll see if Dak can take them to the playoffs.
Look, I hope that it's right. I love Dak, and I think that signing him was the right thing. And I think that there's every reason to think he's going to be great. Jumping from where they were to what we're talking about here feels like a large leap. Damian Woody, what does it feel like to you?
A large leap. How is that a large leap? Greenberg? What the hell are you talking about? A large leap? Make no mistake about it. The Cowboys were 6-10. The division winner was 7-9. 7-9. And as we go through these rankings of quarterbacks, okay, Dak Prescott, we're arguing if he's a top 7, top 5, top 4. We've got some lists that have him higher than Russell Wilson and stuff, but he is in that category of tier 1 quarterbacks. Everybody else in the NFC East, everybody, including Fitzmagic, is tier 3 or later. I don't know if they have a tier 4, but if there's a tier 4, you can put a couple of those mother humpers up in there. So it's just amazes me because I always hear, well, Dak Prescott, he's only won one playoff game in 5 years. Okay, the Dallas Cowboys have only won one playoff game in 5 years. Let's be clear about this. The Cowboys haven't won a lot of playoff games in the last 25 years, okay? You can't put that all on Dak Prescott. But be that as it may, the haters I know will put it on Dak Prescott. It's all his fault because he's a garbage-ass quarterback, as they say. But as we get through and get ready here for training camp, we have, players that are on the bubble already who may be cut. Lately, we've been hearing, of course, people talking about Tristan Hill. Tristan Hill, who was our highest draft pick a few years ago because we didn't have a first-round pick because we traded it for Amari Cooper. Tristan Hill, let's be clear, was a late second-round pick. It wasn't like he was a first-round draft pick. He was a late second-round pick who had some problems at Central Florida getting along with the coaching staff. He was a very much brute force who showed up at times and looks really, really good. Unfortunately, his rookie year was not really good, and it didn't seem like he gelled well with Rod Martinelli. Rod Martinelli famously said that, we have a contract that we signed with the players and things, and they were making a contract for him to sign. And famously, he ended up getting sent home, along with, I think, Antoine Woods, for being late for practice, as well as falling asleep on Isaiah Thomas, who came through to do a motivational seminar with the Cowboys. So his rookie year did not go along real well. And, of course, we had the abomination of last year with Mike Nolan. But Tristan Hill actually started to show some signs of life. In the 5 games he played before he tore his ACL, he ended up having 11 tackles, 5 solos, 1 tackle for loss. And he looked like you said, okay, all right, we got something here. But, of course, he had the ACL tear, which definitely brought him back down to earth. Now, the question is, with that second year, how much coaching did he actually receive as far as that hands-on technique? We definitely have a better coach as far as teaching guys technique because, again, he's very, very raw when it comes to technique. Sometimes his pad level's a little high. His hand work is not real good. He needs to work on some of his moves and things. But these are things that can come with time. The fact that the Dallas Cowboys are at a position that we can even consider saying we'll take a guy in his 3rd year, a second-round pick, and we're just going to write him off after starting off last year shows you how much more talent that they've brought in and how much more they look at getting the right guys for the system. Because currently, according to John Owing of the Dallas News. This is his look at the 10 defensive linemen. And this is not just the defensive linemen. We have to understand, we have brought in a lot of great players. You know, everybody's done film breakdown on, you know, undrafted guys and the wide receivers and you know, the cornerbacks and things, and can they make the roster? The reality is we've got to have a 53-man roster. 53-man. So a lot of these guys that we think might be players, and some of them will become really good players on other teams. We can't keep them all. But you have to look at it right now. We know DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be there. We know Randy Gregory, who's in a contract year, is definitely, you know, going to be there. We have OC, who we just drafted in the third round, definitely will probably be there. Neville Gallimore, you know, the Canadian bulldozer, you got to hold on to him. We ended up getting the run stopper in Brett Urban, and he's a proven commodity. We got Chauncey Golston, which, you know, Chauncey Golston is another one that we think is going to be really good. We got Quentin Bohannon, the Bahamian beast, the only one technique guy that we have. And then we have Terrell Basham from the Jets, who defensive end that you look at and say he can play defensive end, some defensive tackle, and, you know, he's a guy that you look for and say, yeah, he's going to be able to step up. We have Dorrance Armstrong and Bradley Anai. So when you look at that, that's 10 guys right there. The question is which one of those guys would Tristan Hill be able to knock off? At the moment, you know, unless he really shows up, I don't see him knocking off one of those guys per se. But never underestimate a caged animal. Never underestimate a guy fighting for his NFL career. Never write off a guy who's now in a different system coming back, because he's looked, you know, from what I've heard from the ACL tear and the rehab and stuff, he's actually looked pretty good as far as that goes. And you never know, once they put the pads on, who all of a sudden starts showing up. Sometimes you have guys that you didn't think anything about, that guys that you didn't think have any chance of making the roster, guys that have been journeymen, that all of a sudden step up and wow you and say, I got to keep that guy. So I'm not ready to write him off just yet, but, you know, that's what training camp's for. And we're going to have a lot of great battles with a lot of guys that are fighting for their NFL lives. So that's where we are right now. I hope you guys are having a great Taco Tuesday. And I, of course, am happy that you are here to spend some time with us as we get ready for training camp. And hopefully, leave me a comment down below and let me know how the sound quality is. I've done a few changes here with the sound system, and hopefully it's actually a little bit louder, a little bit clearer, and you know how we roll. And as always, you know how it is. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Have a great night, and I'll see you soon. Being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
For us today, we will leave you with a I can't do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks. 5, 4, 3. That's tomorrow. That is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.